Hey, what's up, family? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're still alive. Sorry for the noise. Um, yeah, I wanted to touch base. I was on the phone with my buddy Sticks yesterday, and we started kind of talking through, like, we're both really busy this month, which is great. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're making money, and we're kind of just talking about some of the frustrations that we're going through, and we're trying to stay positive. I'm telling him some baby mama drama I got, and and all this stuff, and I start thinking, like, we're kind of, this thought pops into our head at the same time. I start thinking, I was like, man, well, you know what, it could be worse. It could be worse. Some guys have it a lot worse. And then I started, I heard him kind of saying the same thing with his work and stuff that's going on. He could not be working. That could be worse. And then I started thinking, I was like, damn, is this trying to be grateful, or is this just a cop-out? And I don't have the answer to this at all. It's just kind of me talking out loud, trying to work things out, see what you think. But is it just a cop-out that we're saying it could be worse, it could be in a different position, because we know what we need to do in order to take matters into our own hands, but yet we refuse to do it? Like, I know what I need with, my ex. I need boundaries and lay out clearly, communicate clearly, the things that we're kind of going through. And am I saying it could be worse just so I don't have to do those things, take responsibility? And also, we're complaining about the jobs that we're doing because at our core, we know that we could produce them better, we can do them better, and we're doing it just as a money grab. Sorry, my allergies have been killing me. Not killing me, but they just kind of been really bothering me. And so we know we could produce jobs that are better, and at our core we know that that's what we need to be doing, our own projects. And I think just kind of knowing the season that we're in, right? The season that we're in, to just kind of grind it out. There's work, so we gotta stack cash, but knowing why, right? What is this going towards? Right, this is going towards helping me pay off my debt, and hopefully, come August, be willing to, or be ready to refinance my home. So, trying to realize, like, what is the goal? What is the goal here? What are we trying to achieve? And to be careful of our language, right? Or is it a cop-out for what we're doing? Are we saying, like, oh, it could be worse? And honestly, yes, at a certain point, right? We do need to be grateful for the things that we have. But if we stop moving, then what are we doing? I know I'm listening to David Goggins' book, not Can't Hurt Me, but the other one. I think it's Never Finished or something like that. I did 22 miles yesterday, my marathon prep. And he goes through questions that he asks himself. He says, do you really want to be here? His next question is, What would happen if you quit, or something like that. And then he says, what would you do with your life if you were to quit? And it kind of puts the grind into perspective, right? Why am I running? Why am I doing these things? And I'm realizing that it's so that I can stay focused. And at its core is to kill myself, right? Mentally, spiritually. To destroy myself and make room for something new to be born. I know the goal, right? I can get distracted by things here and there, but at the end, this is what I'm doing. It could be worse, but in reality, it's like, I don't know, maybe worse is good. Because it teaches us to move forward and fight. If we allow it to, it could also destroy us. I don't know. I'm becoming very familiar with this low part. There's a lot that I'm grateful for, but at its core, I'm grateful for the struggle, for the fight, because it lit a fire in me that I had. I allowed it to get dark. I lost myself. And this is me finding myself in the struggle. If you're new here, you don't know my story. I am 35 years old. I was married for 13 years. Got married at 21. And then last year, I've been working in the film industry for about 10 years. Last year, 2024, was by far the worst year. I went from making over 130K my best year to probably 30K following year. And I tied my identity a lot into it. And I was in a really low place. And so a lot of the issues in my marriage just became a bigger deal. And I was on a job in Hawaii shooting a documentary in October. And I watched my wife pack up the house, quit her job, pull the kids out of school, and move to Willis, which is an hour away, all through the Ring app. At this, in Hawaii, I was shooting this documentary. At the time, I was contemplating running a half marathon. And the subject that we were shooting there is a guy named Billy Monger. He was one of the UK circuits in Formula like F4 or something, I don't know. But he was in a tragic accident in 2017, and he lost both of his legs. We're filming this man in Hawaii doing an Ironman. This man swam over 2 miles, biked over 100, and ran a marathon. I couldn't have been shooting a more perfect project at this time when I was going through a challenging time. And so I started training for a full marathon. You know, the goal was to keep, lead out of my mouth, and to teach myself to keep one foot in front of the other. As long as I could do that, I could get to a better position. So we were almost $10,000 behind on our mortgage when she left. Didn't know if I was going to keep my house or lose it. The house where my kids grew up. And I started doing Uber just to kind of grind it out. Not fall back on child support and, figure out how to pay a $2,600 mortgage on my own during the roughest year financially. And in February, I got hit by 2 cars on I-10. My car was totaled, but I walked away without a scratch. Or a few scratches. But I walked out alive. A few days later, I jumped into a car, a Tesla Model 3, so I could do Uber and, do all this stuff. And then less than a month later, a car jumped out in front of me, and my Tesla was totaled. And both of these car accidents, the people that were at fault didn't have insurance. And so I still continued to just run. Right, that's around the time where I started this YouTube channel, or not started, but started posting more consistently about just documenting my life falling apart and me learning how to pick up the pieces. I went from running 70 miles a year to 100 miles a month. My life fell apart, and this all happened within 6 months. A divorce, 2 totaled car accidents, and there's plenty of other stuff in there too, but these were the things that really, really tested me. Me going super red pill to black pill to just now me understanding this is the season I'm in. These are the things I believe. This is the views I have. 6 months from now, it can be completely different. Don't judge me by the state I was in when we met. 80% of what I tell you is true. I just don't know which 20, is a lie. Because hopefully we're humans and we're changing and growing, and what we believe now can be different as we gain new life's experience and meet new people, are introduced to new ideas. And I started this as a space, for men to hear stories and hopefully teach them that my life isn't as shitty as his, or maybe it is shittier than mine. But as a man, if you focus on your finances, focus on yourself, focus on your body, that's a lot. That'll do a lot for you. Your problems won't go away, but now you'll have more resources and strength to throw at them. I love you. Take care of yourself. I want you to remember it could be worse, but if it's to be, it's up to me. It's up to you.